John Brady.
Thanks. Let's go, Carla. Well, firstly, can I just start my contribution by welcoming a number of disability activists to the public gallery here this evening. I know they've waited a long time to, I suppose, listen to this debate. And unfortunately, speaking to a number of activists, they said the timing of this debate has meant that a number of them couldn't be actually here this evening. They cited the examples of disability activists from Galway having to travel up here on a Tuesday evening, having to stay over on the night, using up all of their critical and hard-got PA hours in that process. So they feel very much excluded, whilst key to this is inclusion, and they felt at this critical debate they would have liked to be here, but unfortunately that wasn't to be. But can I just say, Sinn Féin welcomes any positive move to ratify the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and this has been long overdue. Long overdue, and it is a real shame that we are reaching the 10th anniversary of the signing of the Convention in March 2007 without actually ratifying it. Clear evidence that people with disabilities have not been a priority for successive governments, whether they be Fianna Fáil governments or indeed Fine Gael led governments. Indeed, the real deadline set by previous governments in introducing a roadmap to ratification in October 2015 to ratify the Convention has come and gone, and we remain the only country now in Europe that has failed to ratify the Convention at this stage. Other countries have ratified the Convention without recourse to having to change legislation. And it is the view of many disabled people that there was and is no legislative barrier to Ireland's ratification. That's the views of many disability activists out there, Minister. Minister, the most alarming aspect of this bill, and again this has been cited to me by many people with disabilities and people who have been active over many years, to them, the most alarming element of this bill here this evening is the sudden absence of the word equality. Only last month, Minister, at a committee meeting, you referred to this legislation as the Equality Disability Miscellaneous Provisions Bill. Yet now we see the equality has actually been removed from the heading of this bill, and this, at the very least, is very questionable, and it has raised a lot of concerns by people out there who have been actively involved in disability rights over many years. And this is a concern that is being put to me directly by many people, and I am echoing those concerns here this evening in the Chamber. And indeed, the Irish Human Rights and Equality Commission have also voiced concerns at that omission from the bill, Minister. And I do not think that people with disabilities, having waited 10 years, are now facing a bill that hasn't got equality at its core. And I would ask that the reference to equality be reinstated in the title of the bill to take account of the wider reforms proposed under the bill, because, Minister, equality needs to be the cornerstone of this bill, ensuring that people who have been out there fighting long and hard for equality for people with disabilities, that they actually get equality in this bill. The term, Minister, disproportionate burden, needs to be removed. This reflects the 2005 Disability Act, putting the economy above and before the rights of a person with disabilities. If we are to ratify the Convention, then we cannot have conditions alongside these rights. This will mean that rights are dependent on available resources, and there is in fact no absolute right. I would like the Minister to clarify who is actually going to be over the implementation of the ratification of the Convention. I know that many have called for this to be independent of the state, and I think it is very important, Minister, that you outline your plans with this regard here this evening. And it is also essential that people with a disability are included on any advisory committee set up to oversee the ratification of the Convention. And in this new era of so-called new politics, we see that many of the most significant provisions in the bill have yet to be published, Minister. And some of my colleagues here have outlined that. And they will not be included until the committee stage as amendments. And that's crazy, absolutely madness, Minister. And this impedes any proper discussion of this bill. It leaves little opportunity for public debate and even less opportunity for amendments or provisions once introduced at committee stage. Ratification without real change in our laws and our policies, the kind of change demanded by people with disabilities, is meaningless and undermines the hard work of many campaigners and organisations in the area. Minister, we cannot rush through this legislation just for the sake of it. We owe it to those with disabilities who have been sidelined by successive governments to ensure that ratifying this UN Convention will mean that those with disabilities are no longer and never again will be sidelined. But, Minister, we support the passing of this. There are key areas that need to be addressed, Minister. My colleague here has outlined a number of those, and indeed we will be putting forward a number of amendments also, Minister. But it's key. You need to outline all of those issues that have been touched on here this evening.